I want to do this. I want to do this. Let me see. Are we live now?
I believe so.
I think we are. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. We're here. Good evening, everybody. It's 9 p.m. in Puerto Rico, 8 p.m. in New York, Pennsylvania area, tri-state area. And we are having another podcast, another conversation with another great arm wrestler, my friend, the guy that just went to New Way Nationals and did a great job, a great performance. My friend, Boricua too, uh, Daniel the Nightmare Schwartz. How you doing, Daniel?
Doing well. Thank you for having me back, man. It's always an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm always happy to have you. You know, you can be on all my streams if you want. But the thing about the hours and time zones, it's a little hard. Like when we do this program with people from the other side of the world, like the time difference is like 6 hours, 8 hours, and it's hard, and when I was with Sour yesterday, I wanted more people to be on, like we did when East versus West was the event went on. But it's hard because I don't want to have, like, if somebody is gonna have to sacrifice something, it's gonna be me. Like if I gotta go late or whatever, it's gotta be me. It's my show. I don't like people like staying up too late because they're gonna be on my show. Like it happened in East versus West, that Oleg had to leave early, because he had to pull the other day. So, but we're here. We're doing this. People are liking it. And Maricel, saludo. Buenas noches. And I want to talk about your performance and your future plans after this great performance you had in the New Way National.
Absolutely, man.
Just tell me how you feel.
So I feel absolutely amazing. I'm vibrating right now. But before I even get to that, I have to say what the motivation that kind of initiated all this. I was in Olympia just last month, competing in Vegas at the pro level at the 165s, and I was humbled by the 16-year-old Australian kid. I thought, what 16-year-old is going to beat me? This kid's less than half my age. I took him way too lightly, and it woke me up to saying, I need to take this a little more seriously. So, that being said, I was originally going to go to New Way with the intentions of just competing at 176. And I had cut back down because 176 is my normal weight class. And I cut back down to the 65s. And I thought, okay, I have time now to bulk back up to 76s. My body had other plans. I stayed lighter and I kept losing weight. And so the early weigh-ins, I had Steve Metal Dog Black coaching me, saying, dude, why don't you just enter the 154s? If you want to pull 176s too, just for shits and giggles, go for it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Let's do this. So for the first time ever, I entered the lightest class I've ever been in since my entire arm wrestling journey. And dude, there was a rising star, the guy who owns Harvest Gap Brewery, where Travis Bagent usually hosts his tournaments in Virginia. He was competing in. I had Black Ice competing in that, and world champion Emo Renata, and then another guy, Paul Martin there. I can't pronounce his last name, but another guy named Paul. And I was feeling so ready after that last tournament. I was like, I need to redeem myself. I have to not be sleeping at the go. I have to be ready. And I definitely had to put a lot more strain on my elbow than I've ever had in a tournament setting. Usually I actually feel it in my shoulder or my back. But this time around, I had to do a lot more side pressure against the guys I was going against. I've been training it up and dealing with a lot of defeats because I'm mostly a top rope guy. So I do a lot of outside pulling. So I've been dabbling in, learning and educating myself and being educated by, world-class hookers, people who know how to get on the inside. And It led me up to Emo, who's a world champion, I think multiple time world champion. He's from Georgia. He's from the camp of Levon,
Oh,
and he is a beast. He was flash pinning everybody, and I was like, I'm next up to the chopping block when I was going up against him, and I caught a slip on him, and no one else really got a slip, and I was like, all right, maybe there might be something more for me here, and so I got into this trap, and I've learned how to use the strap pretty well. Training with Steve Black and learning, actually watching a lot of Jason Bale strap tournaments that he was doing. I've been also learning from Zach Lee too. Great strap puller. I so I was like, okay, maybe I can actually get a stop on this. And lo and behold, he wasn't able to actually go fast initially. I was able to catch him on his first surge, and I took a second surge to peel my hand open. Listen, 2.5 years in the sport, up against a world champion, I'm very happy with that result.
yeah, dude. And I was watching your matches, and yes, you were pulling a lot differently from other tournaments I've seen you. And I followed your career in arm wrestling like very closely, and you were engaging more in your side pressure and doing you were moving like Todd Hodgkins. You know what I'm saying? Like you were going like I wouldn't say people got you in that position. I would say like you felt comfortable in that position and you went straight to the side. Even if you had to rotate and maybe lose your hand a little or your wrist a little, but that's how you engage your maximum side pressure at that moment. And it's great to see you access new stuff on the table, and you look like an entire different guy that day, a new way.
I felt like it. I felt more connected. I felt like I knew what to do when a certain situation happened. I knew how to adjust in certain regards. Um, I will say, while he beat me convincingly, I do see probably within a year to two maybe, I could catch up to Emo. I can. I see there is an actual lane that I can possibly catch because I got the stop on him. So
Yeah,
where his immense power was, but I also felt there were some spots that after the match I saw him actually hold himself where the weak spots were that I saw that I can possibly capitalize on. So I love my evolution of this in this sport. It's amazing, and I'm still learning. And I'm like, give me more, give me more. I don't know if you
yeah,
remember what was that short circuit, that robot that was walking around.
yes. Just
Input.
absorbing every knowledge he had, everything he could get a hold of and learn something new from. Yeah.
Fun it all, man.
But like when you pull people at that level, like that elite level, it's always like you got to pull them more than once to really figure them out, because like it was the first time you faced him and somebody at his level, and people that don't know arm wrestling maybe would see that match and say, oh, he flashed him, he pinned him hard, fast. But it's not that way. To people that know arm wrestling, like, you got the stop, you got the slip. Most people on that tournament, or no one else, did that, you know. So it sometimes you don't have to be the strongest to be the better arm wrestler, and if you know where to, the experience gives you the knowledge to know to engage your pressure points. And when you meet somebody the first time, like you did with him, like, it will take a second to adjust, and maybe it won't take you 2 years, maybe 6 months, maybe 8 months. When you meet him again, things are going to be different because you already felt them, and you know what to work with. And actually, maybe you are equally strong, but you haven't figured out where you got to pull your hand, your fingers to stop and bring him to your side. It's like
Yeah.
Todd Hutchins says, you got to pull that in that level. You got to pull people more than once to figure them
No,
out.
absolutely. To learn and engage and get better at it. So I will say, beyond my own personal success, I am very proud of all of Team New York that showed up too. We had, I think, 16, 18 pullers from Long Island. And all of them I've trained with in one way or another over the last couple of months, and they all showed up in force and ready to wreck shit. And it was awesome. It was great to show up with a squad like that. It was absolutely empowering, because I think that that's also helps. You know, when you have your squad, you have your team right there next to you, cheering you on. You feel that energy, you feel that support. Like, how can you not put your best foot forward?
Yeah, yeah, and Troy, our friend Troy, was there, and he pulled in the amateurs, and he got
Yep.
second both hands. He did good too. And the other, how did the other guys from New York did on the tournament? Like
Um,
Chuck Bartle was there, right?
So yeah, he's a PA guy though, but he did. I think he didn't. He did pretty well. But a couple of guys that came from New York. Steve Black won his class in Masters. Um, Paul Cruz did really well as well. He's an up and coming super heavy that I want everyone to take notice of. He's gonna be somebody who's gonna rock a lot of waves and rock a lot of boats, and people who are very comfortable with the supers. He's the monkey wrench. Um, and then who else we got? We got John Mert. John Mert. He's somebody who started arm wrestling around the same time as I did, and he hasn't been able to compete as often as me. So he was, working his way up the amateur levels, and he's been doing fairly well. But this last weekend, he got two first places. So he's not going to be in amateurs anymore. He's
Yeah.
definitely an up and coming guy. He's going to, somebody to take notice. Another guy, Clint, from New York. This guy, what was he, 220s, I think? Beast. Look out for him. We got some monsters, on Long Island. And I mean, there's a reason why we call it Strong Island.
Yeah.
We separated from everyone else. Whenever people have events, they want us to come, we do come. But whenever we have events and we want people to come, the favor isn't always returned. So, we have to have some level of independence and strength to be okay with people saying no, or rejecting coming to our events.
Yeah. So from the crew that practiced with you with prime pullers, those guys, right?
Yep.
So
Those,
they train with you.
yeah, they train with me. We got some amateurs as well, up and coming. Tommy Langella, Derek Perusa. Who else? We got Lino, Lucy. We got quite a few people that are just coming out of the woodworks. Like, I gotta say, another thing I wanted to say, like the squad that we showed up with about 6, 7 months ago. At most, I had about 8 to 10 people at my practice, which is a nice size practice. I was very happy with it. It was comfortable. We had a good, rhythm going. And then out of nowhere, every 2 or 3 weeks, we'd have 2 or 3 more people coming up regularly. Now we have almost 15 to 20 people on a regular basis every Wednesday night showing up. And that's part of the reason why we had such a big crew show up. And it's amazing to see this grow and be a part of it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm so happy that I've been like going with you while you're traveling this road, and see you grow as an arm wrestler, and see your team and the guys that work out on your practices, keep growing and growing and growing. And I'm very happy, and I do appreciate that, because not many people do. People just think about people arm wrestling or training, but you gotta have a commitment, to show up every day, show up every week, go train and all that. And some people uh like make sacrifices, because you have to work, you got time with your family if you got kids and all that. And these people show up to your practices, and um now they are competing and doing good. Troy, it's on the comments right there. Abajo, papa.
Oh, hey, Troy.
Troy's it's having pre-workout fever.
Hey, told you, Troy, it's not a good idea.
No. Do not use pre-workout if you're going to arm wrestle. And dude, like while we're on this subject, uh, you gotta watch what you take when you're going to arm wrestle because sometimes you take stuff that was gonna give you a massive pump. And imagine you go to your first round and you pull and bam, you get pumped because you have some substance in I don't know in your drink or in your pre-workout or a monster you take, and it gets you like it neutralizes you. So you gotta watch out what you take when you
Yep.
go on wrestle. I mean, this is not powerlifting.
No, it's not. It's not. You don't want your arm to fill up with blood. You want less blood in your arm so you can
Yes.
keep stamina purposes and have the mobility. Because if you can't close your hand, you can't move your arm. What good is it to you?
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I don't have that problem, Dan. I really
No.
don't have that problem because of the way that I train. You know, like when I train, I go like I put my arm to so many movements that when I started training like that, I used to have a pump. But then like my arm, not my body, my arm got used to it and it doesn't get pumped at all. Like at all. Like I do workouts like you saw them on Facebook. I do that workout. I work on my arm first and then the other one. Like I don't do like when people go to the gym, they go, oh, work both arms or whatever. I work one arm at a time. And I start like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna start this arm, and I keep going until I finish. And it has given me some endurance on my arm, and I don't get that pump that most guys get. And I don't know if it's me, but maybe it's the way I train.
It might be the way you've conditioned your body to work and operate. So that's pretty cool,
So
man.
yeah. So what's next for you now, Dan? Like that was like your 21 tournament, right?
Yeah, that was my 21st tournament after 2.5 years. So the next one is a big one. It's the Arnold Classic. Um,
Okay.
Last year I was a busy boy. I qualified for 3 national level tournaments: Olympia, New A Nationals, and Arnold. Um, and I am so amped up for it. I'm literally vibrating. I can't wait to start, working out tomorrow. I'm going to start my training regimen. I have plans pretty much to do 2 practices this week. The following week, 1 practice. The following week, 2, and then my last week, only 1 practice to taper down, and then just pretty much do a lot of blood flow workout in between. What I've been doing with my, strengthening my hand and my wrist has been really working. So I'm just going to keep doing that, but I'm probably going to ramp it up. What's funny is one of my teammates said I have an unfair advantage because my career as a massage therapist is kind of like doing the rice bucket workout for a job.
Okay.
Because it strengthens the hand. If you think about it, I'm for 25 to 30 hours a week, I am massaging and using my hand, using my wrist, my forearm,
Yes.
and and since I've been an arm wrestler, I've noticed a change in my services that I'm actually like holding my body as if I'm at the arm wrestling table. And I was in a couple
Yeah.
of he said like, "What the hell are you doing?" Didn't realize it
Yeah.
was just
No, dude, that's the way you get stronger. Like when you feel that everything you do on the table, it's part of your body, part of your life, part of what you do. That's how you get stronger and stronger because you get more comfortable every time, every day, every minute. You get more comfortable in uncomfortable positions. You know, and that's great. That's great. Your line of work is helping you.
yeah,
It's like Marcio that he's in construction and Barry Wood that they do the same. They work and their line of work lines up with arm wrestling and your line of work lines up with arm wrestling too.
yeah. It really does in its own unique way, which is awesome. And you said something before though. It speaks very true to what I've adopted. It's a lifestyle choice. I choose to live by certain like mentalities and mantras within the sport. For arm wrestling, train hard, recover harder. I'm always preaching that. I literally beat the living shit out of my arm. I do. I turn the thing into hamburger meat and then some. But how to get better? Just earlier today, I was actually just with my cryotherapy, the pressurized cryotherapy guy from New York Cryogen. He blasted my inner elbow because it was literally probably about half inch off of my own elbow. It was like that's how swollen it was and inflamed. He blasted it, no pain. I can actually rest my elbow on the table without pain. And
Dude, that's great because not everybody has access to that, you know.
no, and this man is literally starting to put things in every state, and eventually it's going to go international. It's going to go global on a level that it's going to change how we view recovery. It's going to, because it's going to be in a time compressed type of deal. It only takes about 2.5 to 3 minutes, maybe more, maybe like 4 minutes at most, to actually treat the area and feel better.
Yeah.
Can you?
And like that's what I failed. No matter how much I train, I never do the recovery, man.
And that's why you keep getting hurt, and you're not going to get past the PR.
Yeah.
You gotta,
You
you got
saw I failed in front of 6 people.
you gotta recover. You gotta recover because, I a lot of the guys that I train with, some of them like they just want to keep going, going, going. They don't have they have the no quit gene. And I'm not telling them to quit. I'm telling them to pause so they can be stronger, so they can get closer to. Give yourself a little pause, give yourself the break. You don't have to go to get the cryotherapy. There are multiple options. You got ice plunges. You can go out to 7-Eleven, pick up a bag of ice, throw it into your bathtub, and jump in there. And have a similar effect and benefit. It's not going to be the same, but it is a great way to carry you through and at least recover.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. But the thing with me is that I'm hard headed. It's hard for me to go through changes in training. Like I remember when I started lifting weights, I was a bodybuilder, right? And then I no, I started training. I started arm wrestling. Then I did a little bodybuilding. Then I it was hard to me to make that transition from bodybuilder to powerlifter. That way of training, like it was really hard transition because I didn't want to let it go. So I started doing powerlifting, and it was going great. I became national champion 2 times and all that. But now that I can't do that anymore, I'm going through that phase again. It's hard to me to like go and do the arm wrestling thing full time because like right now I'm not going to the gym, right? I'm just like doing cardio and doing my arm wrestling training that at home with the equipment I have, right?
Mhm.
But I'm doing it like I was powerlifting, like I'm training every day, like no rest and all that, and it's just one arm. I'm just training my right, and it's taking its toll, and I have to figure it out. I gotta go like, okay, I gotta get organized. You're not a powerlifter anymore. You're not big anymore. You have lost over, like, I don't know, 50 pounds already. So you gotta, get organized and start doing your thing correctly. And I don't know if someone is watching, or uh, do they go through the same thing? Because for me, it's hard, that transition, that change of training. It For me has been hard, and it's going like really hard right now.
But when you're wired to do something for so long, like you've done it with your body for so long, with your mind so long, and then you're asking it to do something that kind of goes against the grain of what you were already doing and originally doing, yeah, it's hard to transition. So it's not going to be easy. It's same. It's a mindset, though. This is where it is. It's a mindset. Think of it. 2.5 years ago, I was nothing more than a blob on a couch, right?
Yeah.
Talk about going through a transition that wasn't easy, but because I wanted the goals at the end of it more than I cared about the complaining about the transition. I mean, don't get me wrong. I complain every 2 steps of the way of my weight loss. Trust me. I was the first one to complain. And I'm sure everyone was tired of hearing about it. But I can tell you right now, it was well worth it because I can look back 2.5 years ago and look at the picture that I have on my. I literally keep a picture of my old self now as motivation. No, I'm never going to be there. I'm going to be as far away from that person that I will ever want to be. So, if you want to pursue arm wrestling, every day, give yourself an extra minute of arm wrestling training or an extra 5 minutes of arm wrestling training and take away 5 minutes of something else. And so then
Yeah. Yeah.
fully introduce that, make that become your focal point.
Yeah. Right now, I haven't gone back to the gym. Like the doctors already told me that I could go back,
Okay.
but I haven't done that yet because I don't want to go and do the same thing because I know when I go back to the gym, even if I'm on a strict diet, I'm going to gain the weight back up because the muscles are going to remember and they're going to start growing again.
Yeah.
Yes, people, my
Here's
muscles grow really fast. So when I go back to the gym, I'm going to like diet it harder, go on a harder diet because I don't want to gain back 30 pounds in a week because it had happened before. Like I remember in 2012, uh, my daughter was born really premature and she has some complications. She's a special kid. And by 2000, she was born in 2008 and by 2010 she went through a phase like she was getting sick really often and all that, and I stopped going to the gym just to take care of my daughter, my family, right? And when I got back to the gym like in 2012. When I got back to the gym I was 220 pounds, like I was skinny, right? And like 2 weeks I was already 270, bro. In 2 weeks. And people were asking my friends, dude, is Manolo on the juice? And they used to answer, that's the scary part. He's not, you know, because I gained it that much weight really
wow.
fast, and right now when I finally go back to the gym, I want to go back to the gym like you just told me. I'm gonna do my arm wrestling thing. I'm gonna do a little bench. I'm gonna do, squatting, some stuff like that. But I'm gonna concentrate on arm wrestling movements and strengthening all the related muscles to arm wrestling, conditioning and strength. That's my main goal. I wanna be 255, but I wanna be tight 255. But the thing is, I think I'm already 255. You know, when I started this thing with my kidneys and the doctor, like people, the doctor say, dude, you're gonna die. You gotta change stuff. You're gonna freaking die right now. So
That's right there.
yeah, I started like okay, and I was like, my waist, my pants were like 38, 40 inches stuff. Then this past weekend, I went to Walmart and I saw some shorts that I like, and I was gonna buy them 38, but I was like, damn, am I 38 or not? And I bought a 30, I bought a size 36, people, and I put them on, and they are dropping. They're too big, and I say, shit, I must be 250 pounds. You know.
Good man, dude. When it comes to like the transition from like losing weight, so I've always had a thick neck. Well, that's not always true. I grew a thick neck in high school because when I was in high school, I actually played football, and I was a scrawny little thing. When I say scrawny, like my neck was it looked like my head was supported by toothpicks, and so
Don't go so hard on yourself, bro.
I wanted to get a stronger neck because I wanted to participate in wrestling. I wanted to participate in football. So while all the other jocks were sitting there doing squats and benches, I was over at the neck machine, literally going boom, boom, boom. Night at the Roxbury, literally just moving as much as I possibly can with my neck, and therefore I have a very thick neck. Now, at my heaviest, my neck was about 23 inches. And I'm not a very tall individual, so that's a pretty big neck on a small guy. And then now I had to go get a shirt fitted for me for an event, and nice button down and a tux. I'm getting my neck measured, my arms measured, and he goes, um, I've never met someone whose neck size is more than half of their wingspan. But their arm length rather. I have an 18 and a quarter inch neck
Right
for
now.
for a 160-pound guy. That's insane.
Yeah, yeah. And talking about weight. So you were gonna pull the 165s, and you ended pulling the 154s, right?
I was gonna pull the 176s, and then I ended up
Oh,
pulling. And I actually did pull the 176s.
okay. So you were gonna pull the 176, and then and you end up pulling 165s.
No, 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 no. I was going to pull the 176s,
Okay.
but because of how much weight I lost, I ended up pulling the 154s. But I
Damn.
also pulled the 176s after that class. Didn't do so well. Didn't go as well as I
Yeah.
wanted.
I mean, if you lost that much weight, it has to have some kind of toll on your power and your endurance.
I think it was more so my endurance because I was able to match power, but I gassed out at that point. For the two people that actually, that beat me, the first guy that beat me, I actually had him on my side, but I fouled, so I got the pin on him, so I had to get a restart. And after the restart, I had nothing left in the tank, and he just ended up taking me over. And then the next guy was Jerry Sterner, who I actually had put a good stop on him too, and he's a fairly well renowned puller in the Northeast, and but he ended up taking me out as well. But had I been fresher, I don't think the same thing would have happened. That's the other side that I need to work on is I'm working on my stamina, building up my stamina in another regard because I do want to be one of those guys because at 54, once because I have every intention of doing it within the next maybe 5 years. I don't know. We'll throw it out there. But within the next about 5 years, I'll be at the top of the 54 class. Where do I go from there? I need to have the stamina to be able to pull in the 154s, maintain that, and then go up in class and keep going, at some point. And I do plan on bulking up at some point in life. I'm not going to stay tiny. I'm probably going to get stronger and going to be get a little bigger. I'm never going to be breaking 200. I don't think. I don't. It's just not good for my frame. I don't. I actually had this conversation with Steve Black because I was like, I'm thinking I like this 154 class, and he said, "Well, look at me." And he's a little bit bigger than I am frame wise, and yeah, 176 has been my competition class for like the last 15 years, but that's my frame. You're smaller than me, so yeah, naturally, 154s is probably your class to be in, and 65. And to stick with it. There's some people who can do the 65 to 76 or 76 to 85, but they can't do from 60 to 85, not right off the bat at least. So that's my plan. I'm gonna be trying to I want to be in that class and in that range where I can be competitive all the way up to the 85-pound class, but that'll come in time.
Dude, I wanted to tell you, like,
Yeah.
now your right arm looks way bigger than the left. Like from the last time I saw you to now, damn, it
Yep.
changed a lot.
Talk about so it's been about a month and a half into pumpkin training for me. I train actually essentially the what I do is I train every day. My table time is my heavy days, and I do pretty much light resistance span workouts throughout the day. I don't do it for number, I do it for volume and time. And that's how I'm trying to increase my stamina. because I want to be able to go the extra mile and go that length of time and pull and not feel as exhausted and still have, you know, an arm that's not gassed out or filled up with blood. And um, so I am going to be doing a little more focused work during those resistance band days, but I don't think it's a recipe that worked nicely for this tournament. I'm just going to replicate the process, probably just do it even harder, as Devin always says, right? Same thing, only
Yeah, same thing, only harder. But like, when is the Arnold Classic?
it is in the beginning of March, I believe March 3rd and 4th.
Oh, so it's going to go back to March, right? Because last year it was like a little later in the year, right?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was a little later in the year. It was in April, something like
Yeah,
that.
that's on Columbus, Ohio.
Yep, Columbus,
Yeah,
Ohio.
and 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 the Winter Blast is in March 11th, right?
Yep, it's the week right after. So I'm gonna actually be competing at both of those. I
So
play
Arnold's is before or after?
Arnold's is before, so
Okay.
I'm using the Arnold's as that's gonna be the one of my big pinnacles of this year, and then Winter Blast. I'm gonna go there depending on how well I feel. I will compete. If I don't feel ready,
Dude, I'm sorry. Troy just said that he's dropping weight to 138.
oh, Troy, you're gonna disappear. You're gonna be gone with the wind at that weight, man. So easy to blow over.
Okay, you were saying, I'm sorry.
So then, so if I don't feel right or if I don't feel healthy, I probably won't compete at the Winter Blast. But then after that, the next thing is the East Fish West qualifier. That's
Yeah.
uh that's gonna be in upstate Utica, New York, April 15th. And that I fully plan on going to that after Winter Blast. So that's the next couple months planned out.
Yeah, and you got your work cut out for you, because the difference, like, they are competitions that they are one after the other. You don't have like much time to prepare or
Nope.
get stronger, because you don't have a lot of time to train. So what are you planning to do? Like just rest those after each event? So
So
what do you plan to do?
my plan to do is I do table work, intense table work up until 10 days prior to the tournament or event. Um and then I completely remove my elbow from the table. I don't even put my elbow on the table to do resistance band work. I do floating resistance band, very light, just to get blood flow back in. I'll do I'll do a day of rest after that last heavy table day, and then I'll do another like a medium to heavy day, just to get the muscles in the shock. And the last 3 days, I'm only doing resistance band workouts, pull ups, just things to kind of get the blood flowing to my joints. And then 5 days prior to the tournament, I do nothing besides relax. I get my recovery services. I get cryotherapy, float therapy, red light therapy. I get a massage. I pamper the hell out of myself just to get my body feeling healed up and ready to go. And
So you start. Go ahead.
I invest a lot into myself in that regard. Probably more than most people, you know, deem necessary. But I was talking to James Reed, the guy who's in charge of CNY Arms. He's a event director. He brought in the Northeast Coalition to the Northeast. Amazing guy. But he said something. He said, you know, we're in an abusive sport. So if you're not gonna heal or take care of it, you're not gonna be in it for that long. Just plain and
Yeah,
simple. And
yeah.
I have
But you know what I think? You know what I think? That most people don't really know how to take care of themselves and recover from wrestling, and that's
no,
why they don't take the time or invest in it. You know, like myself, What do I know about recovery from arm wrestling? Put ice on it. That's what I know. You know, I don't really know a lot. And maybe not. It's not maybe. That's why I don't take care of my recovery that much, because I don't really know what to do. You know.
Well,
And right now I did a workout. I did a workout right now. I didn't even put eyes on me. I just okay, I finished. That's it. You know?
and you should probably be doing a nice stretch right after the workout to help increase the elasticity in the joints, increase the blood flow, so you can flush out all that lactic acid you just poured into your muscles.
Yeah, and that people, I don't know. So I'm gonna do it now after the after we go off here. I'm gonna before I go to bed, I'm gonna stretch my arm because I am joining Dan in the thing. Look at that. Like, look, this is my right, this is my left. My left is my right. See? And I'm going the full pumpkin thing, you know?
Yeah, no, that's so. I've been fairly active in my 2.5 years. I've been averaging about 9 tournaments a year, um, so far, and I will say this year I will have done 4 tournaments before the 6 month of the year, before we're even halfway over. And I'm gonna plan on dialing that back. I actually wanted to um, throw a little something out there that a certain individual, now that I'm comfortable at this weight class and I feel like I'm pretty confident. Um, I want to somebody who beat me once before, but only because he caught me off guard. I think John Hanowski is somebody who's on my radar for a super match.
Oh, oh, John Danowski.
Yeah,
Yeah, my friend John and Kevin Palgo's friend. Yeah, John Hedowski. And I want to invite John to this show. I haven't been like I forgot about it. Let's I'm gonna be truthful. I forgot about it because I have had like too much stuff going on over these days with work and health issues and all that. But I'm planning to having John Henowski on the show and and maybe throw the gauntlet, and say, let's set up match with Nightmare and see see what's going
yeah.
on.
No, he's a tremendous puller. I don't think he's completely out of my reach. I think that he's definitely leveled up a lot since I last pulled him, but so have I. I'm definitely would love to test my metal against him. I mean, I know it's a reach. I do. I'm not gonna. I have no delusions of that. But I think that it's something that it gives me something to train for, something a little bit
Yeah,
more
yeah,
to work.
and talking about that, how many events does 98% do a year? Just one, just the Winter Blast.
So they did. They're trying. They do one big event, one big like tournament. They do small practices, or sorry, large practices where they do have like super match events over there.
Yeah, because that's what I wanted to say. That after Winter Blast, if they when they do the other thing, you can have the super match with John.
That would be cool. That would be cool. That would be something that I can look forward to. Because I'm not going to be in any super match form after Arnold's. So the Winter
Yeah,
Blast, I have no delusions of doing that then. Um, but later in the year, definitely. Because I think in the last half of the year, I kind of want to dial the tournament style pulling down and try my hat at the super match pulling because, it there is something to be said about when you pull somebody once and you lose to them, but then you feel like, hey, wait, what if I just did that
yeah,
differently? And then in a super match setting, I have that opportunity to test that water to see, hey, okay, well that didn't work. Let's try something else. And then you have a couple of chances to kind of work out, the kinks. And I like that. I like that format. Um, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
being able to beat Black Ice right-handed was an amazing experience as well. He's nationally ranked, and I mean I've faced him before, but I was a little heavier, and I beat him. But this time I was much closer in weight to him, and it was. I mean, he's tricky. He's got 11 years of experience. There's no two ways about it. He's a living local legend for us. We're always all the light guys always look to him as like he's the guy who you want to be able to hang with at the table. If you can hang with him, you're doing all right.
Yeah, yeah, and I know you beat some unranked guys on the new way. So
Yeah,
soon we're gonna be seeing Nightmare on the rankings. You know?
ah, we'll see. You know what? Maybe I got to do that again over at Arnold, and then I'll get my earn my keep there.
Yeah, because right now, on the national rankings that go on and off, because there are different
Yeah.
national rankings. The only Puerto Rican that have gotten there is Noel Nunez, and to have Nightmare be on the ranks too, it would be amazing, and it would make us Puerto Rican community of arm wrestling really really happy. And you of all people, because you started like 2.5 years ago, and all you've accomplished in this 2.5 years, it's amazing. And people might say, "Oh, how does Dan get so good so fast?" or whatever. It's like I always say, Dan has a group of people that they work together, they train together, they practice together every week, and that's how you get better. That's how you get strong. And when you find a community around you that you can hang out like that and touch different hands, because there are a lot of people that go to Nightmares practices, and and many people, different hands, they keep training, they support each other, and this is how you get to where Nightmare is in 2.5 years. That's how you get it, doing
and
that, working for the community, making a name for yourself.
and not just going to practices regularly, but going to tournaments regularly. The Ready Go
Yeah,
experience
yeah, that's the other thing I was gonna say.
that I can't say it enough. There's a lot of guys who are a little hesitant about going to a tournament because they're afraid they might get hurt or something like that. That's the reason why we have refs. If I wasn't a little nervous about getting hurt, then I would probably wouldn't be human. But I know that the refs are there. I know that what I'm capable of, and if I really want to try this out, I'm not going to sit there and toe the water. I'm jumping in cannonball style. I'm
Yeah,
going to make a big
yeah.
ass while doing it. So
And in Puerto Rico, even though I think we're at a pretty high level in Latin America over some of the other nations, Latin American nations, we are not at the level of the US because of that what you just mentioned. Like there's no many competitions in Puerto Rico, and right now people are concentrating in doing events like super matches, and we end up having the same matches over and over and over because we are not so many arm wrestlers in the island, and that's why we are working really really hard to finally get to do a national level event where everybody can come and have all the weight categories, and even if one guy shows up for that category, he would be champion because he showed up. He got ready, he showed up, and even if he's alone, he's gonna be declared the champion on that weight class. And if he wants to jump in a higher weight class, or to just arm wrestle, he can do it. But we are working really hard to have a national level event, and hopefully that would get started, get the ball rolling. At least knowing we're gonna have this event every year. You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely,
and maybe motivate people to do another type of event. But I mean, when I'm talking about events, I'm talking about tournaments. You know, not just super matches. I'm talking about tournaments. That's what we need. If we're going to the Olympics, we're not gonna go to Olympics and have super matches.
no,
We're gonna go to the Olympics and we're gonna have to arm wrestle 20 times in a day or a night, because there are gonna be so many people.
yep,
And I don't know if you saw the post I shared earlier today that arm wrestling is on the World Games or World Combat Games. Arm wrestling's on, and that's part of the Olympic committee thing.
oh wow, I didn't know that. I didn't say that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. It was announced today, but
no,
sadly we didn't make the Paralympics. You know,
I
I
know.
was talking with Elmo and other of the some of the presidents of the Latin America federations of arm wrestling, and they were telling me that because I thought that arm wrestling didn't get into the Paralympics for 2028 Los Angeles because we didn't have enough Paralympic athletes. You know, like
Gotcha.
arm wrestling didn't have enough Paralympic athletes, and that's why we didn't get in. And actually, that's not the reason. The reason was that that people have problems with other people out of stupid shit,
Yeah.
and they start fighting, and they just do not collaborate. And the people that ended up submitting, doing, making, and submitting the proposal were people that didn't know what they were doing, and they didn't uh, gave the right stuff that the Olympic Committee wanted to see. But that's okay because we already, as a sport, we learned from that mistake, and it won't be happening again. And the doors are open for future Paralympic events. I don't know if those Paralympics they do it every year. I believe they do. They do it every year. Uh, but I believe that the next time we're gonna be on it, and we're still on that Olympic track to 2032 to France 2032, and we need arm wrestling tournaments because we are gonna arm wrestle in tournaments in the Olympics, and Puerto Rico needs to get on that. Like I don't know if you saw the nationals Peruan arm wrestling nationals. They were like arm wrestling all freaking day. There were so many athletes. They had youth, they had amateurs, they had seniors, they had and a lot of arm wrestlers. They were arm wrestling the entire day until like 11 o'clock at night. It was great, and that's what we need in Puerto Rico, and we're lacking that.
You know, it's interesting with the different factions, like different groups and whatnot. We have about three major, I'd say three big practices on Long Island. One that was been around for quite some time, probably for like at least I'd say 5, 6 years. Another one that's where Alex Topol came out of like the Manhattan area. I call that the Russian Syndicate because they're just these insanely powerful Russians that are always there. And there's my group, and one of the coolest things is that we try to share time with each individual practice. So while we have our own thing and our own jive that we're doing, we try to work together and we try to say, "Hey, I want to do a big practice. Let's see if we can come together." And some guys will come from both practices and come to mine, or we'll carpool and we'll go to Brooklyn, or we'll go, out east to Eric's house where the other practices. And it's in an effort for the getting better at, like you said, at arm wrestling because you get to grip up with more hands. So like there's some days where I'll go to another place or another practice because there's somebody there I know there's a style that I have a hard time against and I want to train against it. How can I train against a style that I can only see if I grip up if they're not physically in front of me? I can't.
Yeah.
So go there. I need to make the sacrifice, drive the 2 hours, and get over there because that if I want to get better, that's the recipe I need to follow.
Yeah, and that's the plain simple truth. And like me, I'm planning to come back into the sport competitively at some point this year, and
Okay.
hopefully, at the Winter Blast. And even if I just want to get in there, just want to get out there, even if it doesn't go well. But that's my plan. And the hard time I'm having is because I train alone. I just got to train. I don't have people to practice with, and that's the difference. But I don't get scared by that because Richard Lupkis didn't practice that much either. So
Well, I mean, there are so many different ways you can train. Like there was times where I didn't, earlier on, I didn't have too many people to train with, or there's some weeks where I'll have one person, and it's a poor guy that really I don't want to hurt. So what I'll do is I'll take the resistance band, tie it up around, and use that as like a hand type of deal. And I'll grab. Do you have one of those art arms or the
I
worldwide?
gotta get that shit, man. I gotta get it. I
That
gotta
yeah,
get it.
because when I'm like if I don't have somebody available and I do want to grip up, I just grab that, throw it on a resistance band or on a handle, and I just rip. And I train specifically mostly for the hand. I focus on the hand, focus on different grips with my hand, making sure my wrist is good. I'll move my arms a little bit, my body a little bit, but I'm mostly focusing the pressures into my hand and wrist.
Yeah, I gotta get that. And the ones I was looking at were the uh the Gripsila ones, and I
Okay.
didn't like them. I didn't like them. I saw them and I didn't like them. I'm trying to get those that you mentioned, the Artem ones, but I don't find them. I think they don't make them anymore.
Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. The ones that I have are hand control worldwide, or hand control, something like that. Total hand control. They're just you say hand fat grips.
And their brand is that Artem, right?
I don't remember the price. It wasn't that bad. It was like $35, I
No, I'm
think.
not. I'm not asking about the price. I'm asking about the brand.
Oh,
It's Artem. That's the brand.
that's not the brand that I have. The hand control is the one that I have.
Okay.
Total hand control, I think it's called.
Where I'm gonna look them up because the Gripsila, they look cool. They're yellow and thing, but they seem like they're not really thick. They don't really mimic a hand grab. Gripping with hand. I mean, they're a great product, but I just didn't like them. I'm looking for those old ones. The first that came out. That's the ones I'm looking for. They're kind
Yeah,
of like gray green stuff.
I'll send you the link for it.
What?
I'll send you the link when I find it.
Oh, if you found that, yeah, yeah, I would appreciate that because I want to get those. Actually, I always fabricate my equipment for arm wrestling, but that kind of equipment I cannot fabricate.
No, you can't. You can't. So one of the things that I actually liked though that I did, I couldn't replicate that, but you know those rings that you can squeeze, the rubber rings?
Yes.
I threaded one through a resistance band, right? So that it got stuck onto the resistance band and it was tied off. And then I put it in between, like the resistance band, in between like either one of the slats of my fingers, close my hand, and then put the resistance band in wherever. And because I'm closing my hand on that ring, it's like it's actually closing the hand on another hand. And it actually helps strengthen all the intrinsic muscles in your hand so that you can contain a little bit better. So if you can't get the other thing or can't find it, that's a
Yeah.
good alternative.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll try that. I'll try to get the rings. Let me just write it down. The ring. So, uh, thank you for being with us, Daniel. Like,
It's been
thank you. It's I'm trying to keep this podcast things I'm doing to 1 hour
that's a
because I
perfect.
want people to be able to see and to watch them. Because if I do a long one, they don't like they don't watch it that completely. And I want to keep it to 1 hour.
I
So
like good one, and I think we covered a lot of bases. I really do appreciate you having me on here. Remember, visualize the win, visualize the pin, train hard, and recover even harder.
yeah, yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do. So Daniel, I love you. Thank you for being here. Say hi to your family. God bless you all, and we will keep in touch and talking